Hi everyone, my name is Ian. I'm the founder of British Machete Company, also known as BMC. This is the video to introduce the company and the product, which is the BMC Chopra Machete. Right, so British Machete Company, what is it and why is it in existence? Here in my garden in the UK, we have hazel trees which need coppicing. We also have a lot of holly, which grows really fast. Again, we've got holly all around us. It needs to be tamed, especially the sort of long viney leaves. I found a real strong need for having a machete in the garden. Chainsaws are noisy, all run out of battery. Hand saws, you get tired and can't get through big trunks. Small knives don't do it. Secateurs, great for small branches and leaves and things that you're not doing too many of. You do too many of those, you get cramps in your hand and it can't get through anything thicker than sort of ½ inch or even a centimetre. So machete is what I always came back to. You can pull out a decently designed machete in any situation and have it do the job that all of the other tools I just mentioned, chainsaw, handsaw, secateurs, needed. And it's been such a godsend to add to my growing collection of machetes, learn how the different design features and functions work for each machete, to know what the ergonomics of the handle, things to look out for to make it more comfortable, things to avoid, which I've found on several machetes that make it very uncomfortable after use. It might be good for 5 minutes, but it won't be good for continued long-term use. So I started designing over 2 years ago the first machete. This was based on a sort of parang design. Made this out of wood after doing some sketches on graph paper, and really like this one actually. We've deviated from this somewhat. This is a much thinner, more nimble blade, which we're actually going to return to in the future. So if you really like the look of this one, then stay tuned. I wanted to get a nice handle design, so I used this modeling clay. This side was very sculpted. This side was very traditional and non-sculpted, and we've not gone for either of those designs, but it taught me a few lessons. We then mocked it up in 5mm thick mild steel. Again, this is the more slender, nimble design that we deviated away from for the first Chopra. We started to get into the blade shape that we settled on. So it's a chopper. It's chunkier. This is obviously just a thin piece of 1mm mild steel, just to get the template. You'll notice the handle was not very well sculpted. It was actually very uncomfortable when we fleshed this one out. So we moved on from that, and I did some more drawing on paper and then put it onto cardboard, and it started to take shape. So this is the first genus where it kind of represents the final look to a large degree. So then we went to wood, and here you have it. This is what we came up with as the first prototype. Again, we didn't have a handle ready, so I wrapped this one in paracord. Maybe in the future we can offer this as a reduced cost, cheaper option for those people that like the paracord. However, testing this thoroughly did teach me a few things about the design. Generally, I love it. It's great. We've changed the grind profile slightly to make it less slicey and more choppy, because you do not want this blade getting stuck in wood when you're trying to chop it. Paracord is a nice, cost-effective option. It actually looks pretty cool as well. I've not wrapped it particularly well, and this is after some, pretty strenuous chopping. So it's starting to get a bit loose at the back there, but you get a little bit more vibration in the chops coming through this paracord handle. So that's just something to be aware of. The feel convinced me that we're on the right path here. This is the finished prototype of the Chopra. This is 98% what you will be receiving if you back our campaign. So let me talk you through it. It's very exciting. The secondary bevel, so the cutting edge, is, as I say, less slicey and better at chopping. So it's a bit thicker, so it's a lot more robust than the first prototype. It comes in satin finish initially, but watch this space, because our second release, we're trialing some Cerakote and Teflon coated options. Also tumble finish and acid wash we're trialing. So that kind of speaks to some extent as to our interest and dedication to making sure that not only the Chopra, but BMC as a company is always progressing, moving forwards, looking at new designs and also different colors, finishes, materials to complement the designs. It's quite a large machete, so it's 785 grams. It's it's about 505 millimeters tip to tail. The blade length is 360 millimeters, so from the front of the handle to the tip is 360 millimeters. What I'm most proud of is the shape of the handle. I pored over this design for months and months and months. I wanted it to be reminiscent of a more traditional machete that you might find from Southeast Asia, where you've got a swell happening from this point here, high up on the handle. It swells out to, I think off the top of my head, 28 millimeters in thickness. It's not that obvious, but when you're holding it in normal grip position, so we'll call this fully choked up position, making use of the grooves and the front finger guard. So this is really good for close-up work. So the mid position, you make use of the thumb rise here, and just, it's really comfortable. You've got the narrowest part of the handle that supports your grip really nicely, and it's actually flared at the front as well, to help with preventing accidental slippage of the hand forwards onto the cutting edge. The handle is super comfortable. Ergonomics was key. We've added here 2 scalloped out sections, grooves if you like, on both sides of the scales. We've gone for a burlap, OD burlap micarta finish. We've got some G10 liners on this sample. I think what we'll do is actually thicken up them to maybe 1.5 or 2 millimeter thickness liners, which will mean the micarta is slightly thinner, but overall dimensions I'm really happy with. I've got medium sized hands and the grip is really nice. Coming to the back here, we have a butt hook, which we're going to tweak very slightly. We're going to just keep the curve from the handle coming round to the tip of the butt hook, so it's just super comfortable. And actually this hook here is going to be rounded off a little bit more as well, just to make sure that it is not noticeable when you are choked back for those extra leverage swings. So you'll be doing that a little bit with this, because this is the Chopra. It is a chopper. It's not designed for slicey, dicey, light knife work. You can use it as such. This is a perfect camp knife. It's a perfect all-round survival machete, garden machete. We've been very careful to make sure it's not too heavy, and that even with the new grind profile, it will still do detailed work like feather sticks really nicely. It's skeletonized on the inside as well to reduce weight, so 785 grams with the handle. It's going to be with a Kydex sheath. We're currently working on that at the moment. We're going to have 2 design options, possibly offering both of them. It's again part of the design that we've pored over. It needs to be belt mounted, nice and low, comfortably. It's not going to be awkward up here digging you in the ribs, and yeah, that's ongoing, and updates of the sheath will be provided shortly, but we're sparing no professionalism and expense on developing the sheath system for this, because such a lovely machete requires a very decent sheath to go with it. Again, safety is paramount, and you don't want a sheath to be wobbling around, having the machete fall out. You're just asking for trouble. The sheath will be focusing on good retention, more than likely just the one strap to keep it in place. But yeah, as I say, that is prototypes being worked on now, so we should have more details in 2 weeks from today. One feature that is probably going to be quite polarizing is this forehead. There is a very purposeful reason for this design, and it's twofold. Number one, the most overriding important reason for having it is when you are chopping using a full leverage chop, you don't want to be hitting the branch or object you're striking right on the very tip. That could send shockwaves through to your hand. It also does risk the tip somewhat. You don't want to be messing up the tip. Obviously, the more material you have around the point of impact, the stronger the blade is. You also, for chops, don't normally want to be doing it too close to the handle, as you don't get too much swing and leverage in that chop. So you want to be doing it about 2/3 of the way along the blade from the handle. So about that point. And that is the point we have made sure there is material added above that perfect point of chop. So purposeful, and some people might like it, some people might hate the design, but it's functional and there for a reason. There's two other advantages, big advantages with this design, is for batoning. So a very simple way of chopping up firewood with this machete is to obviously place the machete on the log. Let's say that you're splitting, and not using the blade itself to swing, but hitting the back of it with a baton. More kindling, put the blade where you want it, and just like so. One little tip is you can use the baton itself to keep the location of the cut, so you don't have to keep putting down the blade. There we go. So that is batoning, which is another piece of firewood usually. So a nice smooth rounded branch works really well. And this offers a nice, normally fairly flat horizontal platform to strike. Of course, you can strike all the way along the spine. It's 5mm thick, so we've got no weakness problems here. Thirdly, occasionally you might find yourself needing to do draw cuts, which is where draw towards you. That's a nice, safe, controlled, measured way to use a blade for stripping bark. It gives you a lot of purchase area for your hands. I've got medium-sized hands, and it works really well. This is 98% how the production models will be. Added a front lanyard hole just below the front of the thumb rise grooves, so it's going to be in a very strong position. Do you want to come up? Do you want to come say hello? You're very friendly, aren't you? Oh, okay, I've got to do you one-handed because I'm holding a blade. Here is Kitson. See you later, Kitson. Thanks for the climb there, that was great. Yeah, lanyard hole at the back as well. This is the only other slight change, is the choil. You might notice, especially from the photographs that we've produced, the blade grind needs to move back about 3mm. So we want to provide the full 5mm thickness support behind at least half of the choil, but it's going to mean that the cutting edge is open and free for good sharpening. The BMC Chopra. This will be our first machete release, the first of many. Okay, so we've just gone through most of the features on this blade, so that's looking at the product itself. Now let's turn our attention a little bit more to the Kickstarter. So this is an outdoor tool. I use it mainly for gardening, and that's what we're marketing it to you, our hopeful future customers as. This is an adult tool. It will only be delivered to people that are 18 years or older. We're going to have proof of age required at point of checkout. It is to be used responsibly in accordance with general laws and regulations in your country. So here in the UK, something like this is for private use only. It's great for private personal use in a garden, shelter making, general bushcraft, survival. This is an absolute delightful tool to use. Why are we launching this product on Kickstarter? Well, the intention is for having as many people know about this as possible. We don't want this to be a one-trick pony product. We want this to be the first in a long line of many knife and machete products. Kickstarter is, I'm hoping, a great way to showcase our designs and product quality moving forward. The funds for that we generate from this Kickstarter campaign will be used for obviously production of the BMC Chopra machetes. It will be used for basically giving us the confidence that yes, it works, enough people are behind us, they appreciate what we're doing, they like the product, and they would like to see more. The pricing that we are setting the Chopra at, again, it depends on the final configuration of sheath that we're working on. The handle materials, this one is burlap micarta with G10 liners on the inside. Again, exactly where we get the micarta from and the G10 and the exact thicknesses that we buy it in is going to slightly adjust the costings. But so we've allowed for that, but this is just to basically proof of concept our business and idea to produce machetes. So we've not used Kickstarter before. We're a new brand. We're new to Kickstarter, but we like the idea of having Kickstarter broadcast the message of our products and our ethos and a company to as many people as possible. So that's why we're here. So production, this is more or less as I say, 98% the finished product. All dimensions are set, the grind profiles are set, materials are basically set. So yeah, it's going to be more or less like this, but with the added advantage of a better choil and a new lanyard hole. We're ready to go. I don't think there's going to be any big hold-ups, touch wood. I've been developing this one product for the last 2 years, working with already the handle material suppliers, the sheath suppliers, the metal supplier and manufacturer for the actual grinding the blades and heat treatment. So this is more or less set up and ready to go. I don't see any issues with production. As soon as the Kickstarter campaign launches, which should be sometime March, yeah, within a month, based on a successful campaign, production will start immediately, and I would expect that within it's going to be no more than a couple of months to actually receive this product. So this summertime, in the jungly gardens of the UK, Europe, and all over the world, you will be able to be using this fantastic outdoor tool yourselves. It's basically ready to go. We just need your support to get behind it. So please, if you like what you see, if you'd like to get your hands on one of these, please follow us on Instagram. Please support our campaigns here on Kickstarter, and feel free to get in touch with me. Again, my name is Ian. I'm reachable via the website or on Instagram or through Kickstarter, I think. Never used Kickstarter before, so I think there's a messaging system. But yeah, I'm here at your disposal. Thanks.